my niece and stuff. So, oh, well, I wanted to get started by first, anybody that is on my platform might not know you, and I think you are a phenomenal woman.
Thank you.
And I think you are excellent, but just state a little bit about you, like where are you from, where you went to school, where you are now.
Okay. Where I went to school, Howard.
Yes,
The only
HU.
school. No. Yes. No, I am from Maryland, Columbia, Maryland, born and raised in Maryland, and I attended Howard University for both undergrad and law school. Hey. I'm an HU alum in the house.
Yes.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2007 from Howard for undergrad, and then I worked for a couple of years and then went back and graduated in 2013 from the law school, Hustle.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys also, because we're also on the map because of all the recent appointees to the Biden administration.
Oh,
yes, so Howard, so Howard is all up and through that thing, and I love it. So I started working after graduated from law school. I knew I wanted to be in entertainment. And of course, obviously in the District of Columbia and Maryland, Virginia, there aren't that many entertainment opportunities out there, but I was determined to stay local. Like, I'm a local girl through and through. And I was just like, I don't want to go anywhere. I have a big family, and I just wanted to be close to everyone. And I just love it. Like, it's such a bubble in the DMV. You don't realize how fortunate you are to be, around so many like well-to-do and just diverse, Black people. And so, once I got older and started traveling, I just realized, like, no, this is a very special thing that I have here, and I don't want to leave it. But of course, it's very difficult to be an entertainment attorney in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia, specifically television, because the opportunities just aren't there. So if I wanted to advance, I knew that I had to leave. So I interviewed for a position within my same company. I was at Discovery Communications at the time. Okay. I interviewed for a position in the studio, which is based in Los Angeles. I just knew I wasn't going to get it, but it was one of those things where it's like, I did it. I tried. See, it just didn't work out. I thought I was going to be able to have that moment.
Yeah.
But then I got the job, and I bawled my eyes out because that meant that I had to go. And so here I am. That was 3 years ago. I was at Discovery for the first year and a half that I was here in LA. And then since then, I've been at NBC Universal. And I am a negotiator in the Universal Television Group. People don't necessarily know what like business affairs or a negotiator does. So it's a TV production studio, and I basically negotiate all the above the line talent deals. So the actors and actresses that you see on TV, on some of our television shows, or the directors, the writers, rights acquisitions, all of those things. So that's what I'm doing. Bel Air is one of my shows. I'm so excited about it. Yes. I'm also working on like a Best Man limited series. So we're in the process of selling
Don't
that.
play with me. Don't even play.
Yes, I know. It's like to finish out the final chapter of the Best Man. So I've gotten to work on some really cool things, and I'm excited. That's it.
And I love that you're getting to bring Black excellence like Bel Air, Best Man, to a wider audience that deserves it. That's what I say. They deserve it.
I agree. I actually had a conversation this week with my coordinator. We were talking, and I was like, "Oh, Best Man, we're like in the we're so close to the sale, whatever happened." She's like, "Oh, what is that?"
Oh no.
Excuse me.
No. Gotta educate
part
them.
of my culture, ma'am. Tell me how much time do you have over the weekend, because I'm going to send you this video on Amazon.
Yes. So, I know. I had to show my sister the Best Man. She hadn't watched it, and because I moved out when I was 18.
Oh, college.
And for college, and then I just never came back to the Bay. So she's 4.5 years older, and we were pretty sheltered here, and so I didn't have a huge Black experience in my childhood. So we didn't grow up with it, and I was like, "Girl, you're about to fall in love." She loved it.
Change your life. Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm gonna be here, we're gonna educate you.
That's so
and
good.
what I've
Yeah,
been
you can,
doing
like
for the last years.
pick a movie, like one of the Black classic
Hmm.
movies, and watch one per weekend. That'll keep you
Exactly.
occupied through quarantine and beyond.
And beyond, however long, I mean, we're
Yeah.
about to quarantine again. So I know, I know, I know. I know you were coming to LA as I was leaving LA. Like
Hmm.
we like passed in the night because I was heading out to Nashville
Yeah.
around the time you came out here. And I was like, that's a bummer. I remember
Oh.
telling our mutual friend Stan, I was like, dang, that is, I'm leaving people as people start coming here. I'm going to Nashville where it's a little crazy, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
everything for a reason,
Yes.
season for a
Okay.
reason, you know?
Yes.
So I want to kind of talk about Howard and Black friendships. And I think where you are from and where you grew up probably influenced that. But how have your friendships that you made in Howard and beyond influenced you as you are in this world, which is still a predominantly white and
Hmm.
male world that you work in,
Right.
especially in this season where race has been at the forefront of everything?
Yeah. I mean, I think, well, Columbia, Maryland is extremely diverse, but
Hmm.
in my experience there, I was a token.
Yep.
I was oftentimes the only Black person in spaces, the only Black girl on the dance team or on the dance company
Hmm.
or in, AP classes or honors classes, that sort of thing. And so even though I had like my Black friends outside of, those classes, those experiences, that was one of the reasons that drew me to an HBCU, because I was just
Hmm.
like, I am tired.
Yes.
I am tired of, holding it down for the culture. Like, I just want to be. Seriously. So that's what drove me to Howard, even though I am from, Maryland and the
Hmm.
DC metro area, which is largely diverse. But in getting to Howard, I just realized, like, okay, this is like a really rich, like, we are really rich as a people and really
Hmm.
diverse as a people. And I have friends from all, different walks of life, which wasn't necessarily the case, where I was from. Everybody's just
Hmm.
kind of like you.
Yeah.
So I think those experience, and then taking that a step further and joining a sorority, and it's like, oh, now I have friends who
Yeah.
are in Jack and Jill and these places and spaces that I just our kind of people that
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but that I just
Yes.
had no idea existed, and but at the end of it, we all still have this, no matter how like diverse or unique our experience, where we still have these common threads throughout our
Hmm.
lives, and it's still very easy to find familiarity there and
Hmm.
to connect. So the majority of my closest friends, I think, that I've continued to keep in my bag and move
Yeah.
with me from stage to stage in my life, those people have been my line sisters, and we're very different,
Hmm.
but again, there is that common thread. We
Hmm.
fight like real sisters. We
Yeah.
love each other hard like real sisters. We support each other. We do all of those things, and even in my experience in this industry, I'm just very grateful that I have those friendships, those relationships to fall back on. So when I do have like a crazy day at work, or when I
Hmm.
have to deal with something, like just this week, I had to tell someone, like, look, you keep dropping the diverse bomb trying to get me to give your client more money, but I'll have like, I know
Yeah.
we've never met in person, but I'm Black and I'm a woman. Like, so I am a part of 2 underrepresented groups in this industry. Like, I want you to know that I speak up,
Yeah.
for people and for fairness and parity, like at every turn. Like, this is very important to me. So you stop it and know that that's, not what's going on. So when we have those moments, it's just nice after the fact to be able to go to, call up one of my girlfriends, my line sisters, or whomever, like, girl, let me tell you,
Yes.
to just be able to like turn it off for a second. But I do think it's equally as important to, even when you are in these spaces and with people that don't necessarily look like you or come from
Hmm.
your cultural background, I do think it's important to be as authentic as possible.
Hmm.
Even before being authentic was cool, like, that's something that I always try to do, because I can't perform for you. It's exhausting. So you're gonna get this Black girl, like, you're just gonna get, like, this is it. This is
Hmm.
me. This is it. You're gonna get this hand talking.
Yeah.
You're gonna get this volume. Like, you're gonna get whatever it is that I give you in this moment, because I excuse me, my nose is running. I can't perform for you, you know? So I think it's balancing those two. So being able to have those friends that I can like lean on and have those real moments with, but then also bringing those real moments and having those real conversations at work too, you know, it's important.
Yeah, I can say for myself in this season, I've appreciated, I didn't graduate from Howard, but I went to Howard for a few years, and then family emergency had me back here in
You had the
California.
experience. You
I had the
in all the
experience,
magic.
and I
You
needed
got
the
magic.
experience because I was the only person of color in my world, in my family, because my grandma raised me, and she is very white, and she is from Arkansas, so she's Southern, but she's blonde hair, blue eyes, looks like Julie Andrews, and I was around her family. So and my sister's Korean, so I didn't have my identity, and I went to Howard to find out who I am and how I fit in, and I love my girls from there. Like, I wish I would have pledged. Like, that's the one thing, like, my auntie always says, why didn't you pledge? I'm like, I don't know. I was just trying to sing. I was just trying to sing.
Definitely not too late.
I know. That's what she says. My auntie's always. And I moved to Nashville, and I realized how important my friendships were that I had in DC and in LA that I had built, because I went to a place again which is super segregated, which they don't understand me. They were telling me to press my hair out, and I'll do all sorts of things to be more white. Yeah. And I was like, no. I'm like, I might be mixed, but I'm going to let my hair just be as big as it's going to be. And just, you'll know I'm in the room. I'm 5'10",
How are those things received? Like, when you had those conversations, how are they?
I think it took a while for me to completely stand in my truth. And since I love it. Love it.
Don't mind the cup.
I was like, I don't know. You have a White Claw in there. You never know. Mimosa. Like, it was a hard learning curve, because I also was writing for the country music community, which is not a diverse community. Yeah. And I didn't want to be shunned from it, because I'd come from pop and R&B. So I wanted to prove myself in this community writing songs. And
I'm not sure, like, how did you make that transition? Like, how was country, like, was that something that you were interested in, or you just felt like there was a lane there? I don't know if I've ever heard that story, or that path.
Well, I grew up loving country. My grandma raised me, and she's from Arkansas and from the South. And so I grew up on old school, like Grand Ole Opry and things, but I always was like, no, I'm supposed to be like Whitney and Mariah and all of these things. And as I toured and did the things I was supposed to do, what I thought my career was supposed to go, I realized I wasn't Black enough for the Black artists, but I wasn't white enough to be in the other space. Like, people didn't know where to put me. And so I started just writing, and I was like, where can I write a good song, and where will it be appreciated? And I found that to be in country music. So while I still write for other types of music, I found that country music liked my writing style. They liked my storytelling, because that's how I grew up, and they appreciated me. But once I got there and I realized the other side of it, where I'm in meetings and they're like, oh, you want to be an artist? Well, you're going to have to, like, straighten your hair and do all these other things. I'm like, and they would say this to me to my face. They don't filter it. Yeah. And they'd be like, it would help. And it would help if you wrote for, like, men, not for women, and wrote with men, because men are, like, what make the money. Like, women, people don't buy tickets to go see a woman in concert. And I was like, whoa. Okay.
I don't know if I realized that.
And I was like, well, I'm going to write with who I want to write with, and I am going to write for who I want to write for, and I will play the game to a degree, but I'm not going to lose myself in playing this game.
Good for you.
I'm going to say, hey, I don't write songs about beer. I don't drink beer, and I don't ride tractors. So I'm not going to write those songs. I don't think those songs are bad, but that's not my experience with country. Yeah. And one of my close friends just got nominated for a Grammy, and she's the first Black woman to be nominated in country for a Grammy.
Wow.
And it's 2020, folks. So
that's wild.
It's wild. And it's for a song, Black Like Me, where she finally said, I'm going to tell you my story. And I'm still country. I'm from Texas. I'm as country as they come. but look at the world through my eyes. I'm Black in country music. It's a different world. It's a different world. Yeah. And now I'm processing pride coming back to California and working in both spaces, because being in Nashville opened up more opportunities for pop for me, where I'm like, okay, I can be more of myself and not fight a complete uphill battle.
Yeah.
To be seen in the country world, but still influence the country world.
Yeah.
And hopefully for our children, it'll be different, where they won't go, hey, there's a Black girl singing country. They'll be like, oh, there's a person singing country. Right. And that's just the type of music
I like this, or I don't like this.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, why is it why is this the conversation, the topic? And I can name all the Black country artists, and there's 5. And so it's sad to me. It's sad. And it's sad that in this season, they've become tokens in Nashville, because everybody wants a Black artist on their team. Mm-hmm. But they don't really want to go deeper than the surface of what their experience is. They're like, oh, well, you can be Black. I'm like, well, you've ignored them for 15 years as they've been coming up. And now you just want them to take the crumbs you're handing them. And I'm like, wow, those crumbs might be a substantial plate for somebody that's just starting out. Realize this person's resume and how long they've been here. Just because you're noticing them right now doesn't mean they haven't worked and don't earn their money. Right. Don't earn their space and time and their respect. And that's a battle in the entertainment industry in Nashville, because it is completely a white male dominated industry, which I didn't realize completely.
Really?
I guess I grew up with like women in country, like the Faith Hills and the Shanias and all these people.
But I was so shocked. I don't even know when I realized this, but I was so shocked to read, even on like the pop and R&B side, you know, I'm still like kind of stuck in the 90s.
Oh, I love the 90s.
In terms of who and what I listen to regularly, but just realizing that the majority of all these great hits that women write, for the most part, it's men writing those songs. That like blew my mind when I found that out for the first time, probably like years ago, but
it's men write them.
It's crazy.
And when you look at like deals that the women have gotten, they are so less than what their equal counterparts have had.
Yeah.
And and then as an artist, you're not making money as much on being an artist anyway, unless you're writing the songs. You have to be touring and doing all the things which we can't do in this season. So I have so many friends that I'm like, you shouldn't have signed that deal. You shouldn't have signed that deal. But then that goes to education and educating people on what they need to be doing in this industry. It's not, as I always say, it's a business. And people always say, it's a business, it's a business. I'm like, no, it's really a business. It's like, make sure you know what it's about. And in Nashville, they aren't as welcoming with the information. I had a benefit of coming from LA, which is at like 21, learning the ropes of LA was a college in itself. I was like, oh, I have no idea how this industry works, but I learned. Yeah. But I learned. I wanted to ask you again about education. And I think you and I are both privileged in the sense that we have gone to, I consider, Howard an elite school. We have had great education. You're a lawyer. I have my master's. So we've had those benefits. But how do you think we can help our community and the Black community as a whole become more educated and value the education that a lot of them aren't able to get? Yeah. I think the next generation needs to value this education, because that's power. I mean, look at Kamala.
Yeah.
VP.
Yeah. See, my views are very mixed on this. I think I do value education, obviously. You know, it was a path for me. And again, like taking that path has gotten me, obviously, the opportunities that I have, the material things that I have, experiences, the friendships, all of those things. But I also in all of that, and in a world of debt from
Yeah.
all of this education, you know? So I think, just to be quite honest, you know, so I think education is important, but I think that we should also look at, like, not just see college or universities or, you know, graduate and professional degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those aren't the only educational opportunities. Like, you can
Mm-hmm.
educate yourself through apprenticeships. You can educate yourself through like trade programs, and through, you know, just different community, like just different avenues, like books, and, you know, various studies in that way. Like, I think that those things are important too. I'll never forget, I had a conversation with it, and I don't know if, you know, because maybe I'm discouraging somebody, but I had a conversation with my dentist some years ago.
Yeah.
And this, I think I was still in law school or something. And I was like, oh, you know, we're just talking. He's like, oh, you're in law school. I'm like, yeah, you know, super excited, like
Yeah.
bright-eyed, bushy tail, can't wait. And he's like, yeah, and maybe he was a little jaded because, you know, people, I mean, in terms of the professions, like people say dentists have like a high rate of depression, something about looking in people's mouths. I don't like the dark spaces. I have no idea.
Yeah. There has to be something about that.
I never researched that, but I did hear that. And I'm talking to him, and I was like, oh my God, like, you're a dentist and this and that. That's so cool. And, you know, whatever. And I'm in this school and I can't wait. And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's amazing. But like, in my neighborhood, the guy that has a house next to mine owns an auto shop. Like, he owns an auto shop, you know, like, and he probably is in a world less debt than this dentist, you know? So I just think education for me is just finding that thing that you love, that thing that you do well, you know, that you're passionate about, or that, you know, just finding that thing and just really pursuing that thing and mastering that thing. So like I said, if that is, you know, like this car mechanics and that sort of thing. Okay, how do I maximize this? Like, how do I, if that's even what you want to do, because not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. And I think
finding the lane, not necessarily having to go the same path that everybody has said you have to go.
Yeah, I definitely, I think that is what I would encourage people to do, because school is not going to be for everyone. Like, you know, I have one of my brothers is, he wasn't interested in college. And for a little while I was like, oh, you gotta go to college. But, you know, now he's really found his lane and found his thing. And I'm so very proud of him. And I think he's thriving in a way that he would not thrive in school, honestly, because that's just not for him, you know? So I just think, but he's found his thing and he's pursuing it and he's making great strides. So I think that for me is more important. And then when you talk, I mean, outside of education in terms of as a means to, you know, a career or that sort of success, I think the other part of education is just, something that I would encourage Black people to do is to educate themselves on like history and, you know, reading various books and, you know, outside of just looking at Facebook. Yeah. And, you know, taking these posts and things that people say, like actually look into these things and educate yourself on history and like reading those books and, you know, just the way society works and has worked and the things that have happened to Black people over the years, like reading about the world and how all of these things are really interconnected. I think that's another important piece of it. So it's not just about, for me, academia and learning in that way. I think there are a lot of other ways to go about this thing.
I would agree. You bring me back to, I think, reading, and even for all of us that have gone to school, like I didn't learn most of the things I needed to learn in college. I learned them in life. I gained friendships and I gained experiences and responsibilities and structure and those kinds of things that helped me, because I wasn't a great student before. So luckily I could sing so I could get into school, and then I built on that. But I think that we should be learning our history and learning all these things that are happening so we understand why we're here and how we change it. My dad always says, he's like, we can't change the future if you don't understand where we came from. Right. And you don't understand how we got there and how these, like any of the structures have been built. Like, how do you expect to be taken seriously when you're wanting to change those structures? Like, you have to understand the past to change the future. Yeah. And there's so much stuff out there to just learn. It just learn. Learning is power, and learning doesn't have to be with pressure. Like
Right.
I'm a group of my girlfriends. We try to read a book every couple months, and then we drink some wine and talk about it, and like kind of like a book club, but the books
Not as
are
structured.
dense, heavy books. So we're like, we need some wine, but we wanted to grow up. We wanted to learn what we didn't know and do it in a safe space where we could be like, I didn't understand this. I didn't understand that. And luckily, most of my friends are far smarter than I. I'm like, I love that you guys want to also learn.
Yeah.
And just grow as a community. And I think that's something we can pass on to our kids and our kids' kids. If they have the love of just learning, then you can be anywhere. You can do any job, because any job, the excellence of that job just requires you knowing it and knowing it well and taking pride in it.
Right.
Like, I don't care what you do. If you can be an auto mechanic, you can be a plumber. And I'm like, oh, plumbers make, and garbage make good money, y'all. They on union, like,
right.
Like, they're working throughout this pandemic. Like, let's just,
that is happening.
Like, there's no shame in any job you decide to do.
Yeah.
I'm always I should have picked one that was not as wobbly.
Oh no, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, I always say happiness means a lot to me, and I'm very happy with my career. I'm very happy, and my mental state is very happy. So,
and not many people can say that. So that's amazing. For me, it depends on the day. Depends on the day, the hour, the phone call I just hung up from. Like,
I always say, I'm like, I wish one of my good friends is a lawyer too, and I'm always like, I wish I could be a lawyer, but I remember texting you when I was in business law class, and that just took all those dreams away, because I was fine with not knowing any of this and hiring you to do all that for me.
Law class.
I was bad in business law.
I was so great. I'm sorry, I have to have this shameless plug moment. But I ended up getting the highest grade in the class, and he wrote me, Dean Pachow wrote me a recommendation for law school. Because on the first day, he said, whoever gets the highest grade in this class, I'll raise your recommendation for law school. So I was like, bet. Dean Pachow, hey,
see?
Hey, remember when you said?
Oh, I applaud you, because I tell you, I did not get the highest grade. And I know,
because I did.
I just smoothed. I was like, okay.
I'm joking.
I was like, I don't know any of this stuff. I'm like, I'm going to hire this person. Why do I need to know? But
that's true. But no, it's important. And a good lawyer will help you understand.
Yes. And I'm thankful for learning as I've gone along, and becoming more aware of what I don't know and asking questions.
Yeah.
I ask a lot of questions in meetings. And in that, I would say, do you find yourself in your life trying to find, like, I find lawyers and people that are Black, because I want to know that they got my back. Like, do you try to go to like a Black doctor or a Black dentist? Like, or do you find those things don't matter to you?
They definitely matter to me. Yes, they definitely matter to me. And not to say that it's gonna be, I don't know. I just want to support my community in like whatever way that I can support them. So yeah, I definitely, I have a Black doctor. I have a Black dermatologist. I go to therapy. I had a Black therapist, but then I changed insurance and she's no longer covered, and I can't pay out of pocket, girl. Now it's free.
No.
But I at least have a Latina therapist. So, still a brown person. I have, I was looking for in LA a Black dentist, but I couldn't find one. So that's the only thing in terms of I couldn't find one. And maybe I'm sure that there are some here, but I just couldn't find one like that's near me, or would have been convenient. So, but yes, that's very important to me. Like I'm all about supporting, the community and people that look like me, and what they say in terms of like doctors, and not to say that you're always going to have a great experience, with Black doctors or health professionals or care professionals or any of those things, and not to say that you won't still have bad health outcomes, or they're going to catch everything. I don't know, but it's just something about a level of comfort. Like I I like to believe that you see me and you see, you know, your family member, someone like you, and you are going to put in that extra level of care and just make sure I'm all right.
I didn't even appreciate I have a Black therapist now, and the level of comfort even of my conversation, I wasn't even aware what I was holding back
Yeah.
with a different therapist. And it took me a while to find a Black doctor in Nashville, and when I found it, I was so happy. And I told her, I'm like, I'm so happy. And more so for me being a woman, just the risks of like childbirth and
Right.
our health risks. Just, I am aware that most doctors would be aware of them, but I wanted
Yeah, for
somebody that
sure.
had some skin in the game with
Right.
it. That was me. I'm like, I just want somebody that's like, has some skin in the game.
Yeah.
They understand what I'm afraid of. They understand where my concerns are, and I can feel comfortable talking about it. Where if you're white, that doesn't mean you're bad at your job. I mean, you
At all.
could be great, but I might not feel as comfortable having those conversations with you, and then I'm not getting the most out of my experience with you as a doctor.
Right.
And also, I like to like feed into our community. I think that's important. If I'm going to pay for something, I want it to, as much as possible, go into the pockets of somebody that's Black or brown.
Yeah.
Or indigenous.
Definitely.
I believe in that because generational wealth is real, and I want our community to keep rising.
Exactly. And I mean, as a lawyer too, and like a lawyer in the entertainment industry, like I think that's like a huge thing, you know, like everyone gets, you know, like I feel like some artists brag and say like, oh yeah, I made it, I got a Jewish lawyer or whatever have you, and that's all fine and good. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like Jewish people are great, I love them.
Yeah.
I love, you know, like I have no qualms with any people, but it just, I don't know, I just don't like that. And not because just because you're excluding, or you're, you know, sometimes it feels like the inference is that like other people just aren't as good, or they don't fight as hard, or they're not as smart or connected, or whatever have you. So sometimes it just seems like just like a little degrading to like other people. So, or to, so I don't know, but I know for myself, like you know, and I'm on the company side, so I'm not, you know, a talent representative or anything like that. But I do like some stuff on the side. But I'm gonna fight for you. Like, you're my family, and I also am aware of the like trap doors and, you know, the disparities and that sort of thing. And like, you're a person to me in a way that sometimes it doesn't always seem, you know, like that is the case with other attorneys, or, you know, like other people. So I think that a lot of times is the touch, because we are aware, because we experience these things for our clients. And not to say that every Black lawyer is a good lawyer, because they aren't.
No.
But, or not to say that every Black lawyer or whoever is going to go the extra mile for you, because they might not. But, you know, I don't know.
I find it more often than not, though.
Yeah.
When you go searching for that, the people that you find are the people that will, because energies attract energy. Like, so if I'm looking for that person, like I find that person. Like if I was looking for somebody that was going to go to bat for me, I could send you a text or do something and find somebody in a network with a like-minded person that is also Black, and hopefully a woman. I always like to also realize if I can give a woman a job, I'm like, yes, let's do it, because we are underrepresented as well. Just being a woman. But I'm thankful that there are people like you, and there are more options now than like when we were kids. Like, I'm like, all my doctors, all my people, everybody I went to was white. And I thought that was the goal. And even when I talk, people go, you talk white. And I'd be like, thank you. And now I'm realizing, I'm like, oh, that's not okay. I'm like, I talk the way I talk. White is not the goal. I'm like, I just talk like I'm from the suburbs, because I'm from the suburbs.
Right.
I'm like, can't change it. Can't change it, wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like sidewalks. That's what I always say. I'm like, I like sidewalks. Well, I want to thank you for joining me and taking time and talking, because I think that it's important. I started these talks to have conversations with people I respect, and to show people that we are not one type of person, because I think a lot of people, and even a lot of people that have followed me in the country community or in the Deep South, see people of color as one type, and we are all different types, all different shades, all different backgrounds, and all different personalities. And I think it's important to have conversations, because I think that's the most digestible way for people to learn.
Right.
Is just having conversations with people. And
yeah, absolutely.
It's a lost art in the world of text. So
oh my gosh, it really is. And then do you find yourself, I know this is totally off topic, but yeah, do you find yourself sometimes like feeling bad for calling people?
Yes.
Like feeling bad for dialing them as opposed to texting?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, oh,
I'm
this
sorry.
is what we're supposed to do.
It was just really quick. I just thought I should just give you a call really quickly. I'm sorry. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, what? Like, why? Why have we all stopped having conversations? I agree. I agree with you. And I am honored and flattered to have been your guest today.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So you keep on in your musical journey, and all great things to come.
And hopefully this pandemic will wane so that I can come to LA and see you. We can hang out in person. Like,
yes, come on out.
It will happen. I'll drive on down, because I'm just in the Bay. I'm just in the Bay for 2021. So awesome. Well, I'll let you go, and I will share this to my page. If anybody came in late, come back and rewind and enjoy the conversation.
All right. Thanks.
Bye, girl.
Bye.
Bye.